Hello, and welcome to our Immigration Overview session. My name is Kimberly Gentili, and I am the Immigration Lead in the Center for International Studies and Programs. I will be your host throughout this session. Before we begin, let me introduce you to our other immigration team members. You have Eleanor Perry, who is our immigration specialist, and Marco Lagos, who's our SEVIS coordinator. Between the three of us, we can assist you with any of your immigration-related issues and or questions. Today, we will overview the SEVIS system, CSU SB SEVIS administrators. We will talk about how to maintain your F1 and J1 statuses, give a brief document overview so you can understand your I-20 and your DS-2019 form. We will go over roles and responsibilities when it comes to maintaining immigration status. And we'll talk about how to connect with SIS when services are needed. So let's begin. SEVIS. SEVIS stands for the Student Exchange and Visitor Information System. It is a web-based system that all schools use to communicate with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. It also helps us maintain student information. SEVIS is used to issue the I-20s for the F1 students and the DS-2019 for the J1 students. We also use it to update student information, such as your updated addresses, phone numbers, emails, and even financial information. The SEVIS record is transferred from one institution to the next, depending on which institution you're currently attending. That SEVIS record that's transferred to the institution can only be held by one institution at a time. So if you're transferring into USCSB, you will need to go to your previous international office and ask them to transfer your SEVIS record to our campus. SEVIS only allows certified officials to maintain SEVIS records. Within SIS, we have a number of DSOs and a PDSO that can help maintain your SEVIS record. Our International Mission Office also have DSOs that issues the I-20s for any new incoming students. Within IEP, there's also DSOs and PDSOs who help maintain SEVIS records. And within the J program, they are called ROs and AROs. These are the only individuals that are allowed to log into your SEVIS records and make any changes and updates. So what do we do with this immigration status in the midst of a COVID environment? There are many, many new updates and changes taken into consideration for COVID. Some are very much needed in the sense that it allows for us to maintain your SEVIS record and you to maintain your academic program and studies. For example, newly admitted students outside the United States, they can study remotely online from their home country. Immigration regulations prevent us from activating their SEVIS record if they are outside the country. Once they're able to enter the U.S., that's when their SEVIS record will be activated. But in the meantime, in order for us to continue to keep an active record, you must actively be enrolled in classes, whether you're inside the U.S. or outside. Newly admitted transfer students inside the U.S. will have their SEVIS record transferred to us. They must be enrolled in classes where we can register them within SEVIS to say that they have arrived and they are actively maintaining their immigration status. So how do we maintain our F1 status? For undergraduate students, you must be enrolled in 12 units. For grad students, you must be enrolled in at least 6 units if you're here in the U.S. You can enroll in less than 12 or 6 units only if you're outside the U.S. taking courses. Some of the valid documents that you must keep up to date is the I-20 or DS-2019, which our office issues you once you're in the U.S. or if you're currently here. Travel signature is very important. If you're in the U.S. and you plan on leaving, going home for a break for a while, and want to return, you will need this travel signature on your documents. And we'll talk about that later in the overview. Visa stamp upon entry in the U.S. You must have a valid visa stamp, whether it be F or J, within your passport. If you're unsure about anything, always consult with SIS. You would do so before reducing your course load. If you're undergraduate and you don't have 12 units, speak with us so we can evaluate the situation. We can give you the best recommended advice if you do need to reduce a course load. Contact our office before you do an academic program change. Your academic program is listed on your I-20 and your DS-2019 forms. This lets SEVIS administrators know which program you're in. And above all else, before you leave the U.S., contact our office. We want to ensure you have that travel signature and you're not at risk of being stuck outside the U.S. You can ask for all of these things by submitting requests to our office. We have an online request system that you can submit any requests or forms online, and we typically get back to you within 5 business days for processing, unless we need additional documents from you. Some additional requirements in maintaining your F1 status: abide by state and federal laws. One of the most important is to do not drink and drive. Just like U.S. citizens, international students can get what's called a DUI, drinking while under influence, and will have their license revoked and maybe even their immigration status. As the F1 students, you're also prohibited from using drugs. Even though in some states, some drug use is legalized, but as an international student, it is not available for your use. You want to do everything as best as possible to maintain your immigration status. So let's talk about some overviews of your documents to give you a better understanding of what forms that you have and what they mean to you. For F1 students, they have a SEVIS ID. This is very important. This ID number identifies you in the SEVIS system. This is also the number that we will request from you so we can look up your records. Because there's so many students within the SEVIS system, this number is identical only for you. It cannot be used for another student. It would not bring up any other student record but yours. Your educational level, listed here in item number 2, is on your I-20 form. For example, if you're an undergraduate student, it will list here. If you're a graduate student, a master's student, it will be listed here. Item number 3, list your major. So previously we said before you change your major, consult our office. This is the reason why, because it is not only in your CVIS record, it will be printed on your I-20 form. And then your program end date, item number 4, is very important. It allows you enough time to complete the program that you're in. However, if you don't think you're going to complete and graduate your program at the expected end date, please consult our office so we can extend this date, not only in your CVIS record, but on your I-20 form. And the travel signature. Very important if you're planning on leaving the U.S. and returning. You can submit a request to our online forms to have a travel signature placed on your I-20. This travel signature is good for 1 year. For J1 students, their form is called the DS 2019. It pretty much has the same items as an I-20. However, the difference is that information is listed in different areas. J1 students also have a CVIS number that is applicable to their records only. This number is very crucial to us in finding and locating your records. You should memorize it, write it down, keep it with you whenever submitting a request to our office. Item number 2 also lists your program beginning and end dates. Again, if any student is not going to complete their program by the end date indicated in their CVIS record and their DS 2019 form, please consult with our office so we can extend this date. Item number 3 is your educational field, your major. What are you majoring in while you're participating in the program? And just like the S1 students on their I-20, J1 students on the DS 2019 also must have a travel signature. This is crucial if you're planning on returning to the U.S. to continue your programming. This travel signature is also good for 1 year. Another document that you may be mindful of is what's called the I-94 Arrival and Departure form. This form indicates when you have arrived into the U.S., your current admission status, such as F1 or J1, and how long you are admitted. The DS here stands for duration of status. It means that you are admitted in the U.S. as long as you are continue in your program. Both F1s and J1 students receive an I-94 travel document. You can go online to print this out once you arrive in the U.S. Some documents you must keep valid and think about on occasion to ensure that they are valid. For example, your visa stamp. This is the document that you will get upon entry into the U.S. The date is good into the expiration date. While you're in the U.S., this visa stamp may expire, and that's okay. As long as your I-20 or your DS 2019 and passport are valid, you are welcome to remain in the U.S. However, if you leave the U.S., you will have to renew this visa stamping. And passport. This is one thing you do not want to let expire. You must renew it within 6 months of the expiration date. You can renew it at your country's embassy or consulate office inside the U.S. or if you're outside in your home country. Most of the consulates can be found in Los Angeles. Some may be a little farther out, but you can always go to travel.gov.state to find the closest consulate office for your country. Renewing these documents is the responsibility of the students. The CIS office cannot renew these documents on your behalf. So let's talk about working in the U.S. while you're here. So working in the U.S., you are allowed to work on campus. You're allowed to work 20 hours a week while school is in session. You can work to 40 hours a week on vacation breaks. That means while school is not in session. You can look for a non-work study position. You do not qualify for this. You may not work off campus without permission on your I-20. If you find a job off campus, please consult our office so we can see if you qualify for what's called curricular practical training, which is tightly related to your degree field that you're in. Do not work without authorization. This is critical to your immigration status. So I mentioned vacation breaks. What does that mean to you? So vacation breaks, including all F1 students, IEP, studying in the U.S., and APP programs. You can have breaks during regular campus closures for holidays, for example, Labor Day, Thanksgiving. Those are a lot of breaks. You can also have summer vacation break when it's not required for you to attend summer sessions. You may qualify for a vacation once you completed a full academic term. For example, a full academic term will consist of fall and spring. The following summer, you can have a break. You can have this if you intend on returning to your program after the vacation of the sixth quarter semester. We are now on semester system. So, okay, you have taken your breaks, went to all the classes, and you're nearing the program completion. Now what? There are some options that will allow you to work full-time within the U.S. after you have graduated. For example, if you are an F1 student, you can apply for optional practical training. It's called OPT for short. And we always recommend that you apply for OPT 90 days prior to graduation. It will take the U.S. Immigration Office 90 days to process that work authorization. If you are a J1 student and you want to remain in the U.S. to work, you can apply for academic training, and you can work up to 18 months on this AT. Consult with an immigration specialist to ensure that we apply for the academic training on your behalf. If you're an undergraduate and you want to continue your studies, you may continue to a higher grade level at CSUSB, or you may find another graduate program that you would transfer your CSUS record to. We ask that you notify CIS in aware of our online request at least 2 weeks prior to the end of transferring your records so we can make sure that your new international office has access to your SEVIS record. Let's say you don't want to work in the U.S. and you don't plan on attending another grade level. You're always welcome to depart to your home country. Depending on your visa status, F1 or J1, you will have a certain grace period to remain in the U.S. So let's talk about that. For J1 students, you have up until 30 days after your last day of class to leave the U.S. This is when you graduate or finish your program that you may finalize any personal things that you have going on, finish out your lease agreement, sell off any cars, close out any bank accounts. For F1 students, you have up to 60 days grace period to do the same thing. Now, please be mindful that the immigration office does not make the determination for you. This is an immigration federal regulation that we all have to adhere to. It is very, very important that you do not overstay your time in the U.S. if you plan on leaving. So what are some of the roles and responsibility of maintaining your immigration status? SIS role here is to provide advice, guidance on how to maintain a SEVIS status, and we maintain your SEVIS record. As a student, your responsibility is maintaining your immigration status, whether it is to make sure you are fully enrolled in classes full-time, whether you are an undergraduate or a grad, making sure that you are not working unauthorized, making sure that you're keeping a valid passport at all times, and I-20 or DS-2019, or making sure that you don't get in trouble with the law. These are things that immigration looked at critically, and it is your responsibility to make sure that you're doing everything to maintain your status with the advice and assistance of SIS. Some important reminders for the fall term. If you're in the U.S., register for a full course of study. Register for classes while abroad. This helps us to make sure that you intend to continue in your program. Make normal progress towards completing your course of study. In other words, don't sign up for classes and not attend. Don't sign up for classes and not do the work and receive a failing grade. Pay attention to your program end dates. This needs to be extended if you need more time to complete your program. Complete the program before the expiration date or ask us to extend that date. Keep a valid I-20 and DS-2019 as well as a passport at all times. Abstain from criminal activity. Do not work unauthorized. And update your personal, academic, and immigration information with us regularly. This allows us to help you maintain your status. Connecting with SIS. There's several ways to connect with us, whether it's via email, phone, or our website. Our website is where you can find the online forms to submit requests to our office. For international stitching programs, you can contact them at iep@csusb.edu, by phone, or even by their website to gain additional information. We have lots of events for students, and we frequently post these on our Facebook, our Twitter, and our Instagram account. If all else fails, send us an email, call us, and we'll try to get your questions answered. I hope you enjoyed this session of your immigration overview. And as always, SIS is here to help and serve your immigration needs. Thank you.